If you're dealing with spasticity after your stroke, chances are you've already tried a lot. You're probably going to therapy or you're doing your home exercise program. Maybe you're wearing orthotic. Maybe you've had Botox. Your whole approach to spasticity management has been built around what you've been told to do. And the hand is probably still tight. The arm still won't cooperate with you. And at some point, you probably just start to wonder is this as far as my recovery is going to go? And in the last 10 years of working with stroke survivors, I've heard that said a lot. That's the logical conclusion when you have tried everything you've been told by the professionals and nothing is working. The issue here, I don't think, is your effort. It's just there's a handful of common mistakes that are quietly working against you every single day. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be covering 5 spasticity management mistakes you might be doing after your stroke. And if any of these sound familiar, you might have found the reason why you're stuck. So mistake number 1 is thinking Botox alone is going to fix your spasticity. And look, that assumption makes complete sense. You've got a spasticity problem and Botox treats spasticity. So Botox should fix it, right? That's reasonable logic, and it's also why so many stroke survivors walk away disappointed. Because here's what Botox actually does. It's a neurotoxin that blocks the overactive signal from your brain reaching your spastic muscles. The signal is still being sent, the neurotoxin is just stopping it from getting through. And that block is temporary, usually between 60 and 90 days, sometimes less. And then those signals start to break through again, and so that spasticity returns. So here's the reframe I want you to know. Botox doesn't fix the problem, it buys you a window. And the research is actually very clear on this. Botox combined with active rehabilitation produces significantly better outcomes than Botox alone. Because that window where the nerve signal is being quieter is when the muscle is more accessible. And that's exactly when you need to push harder in your rehab to build those new neural pathways. But most stroke survivors finish their injection, go home, and wait. And nobody has told them about that window. So if you've had Botox or are considering it, make sure therapy is part of that plan. That window is too powerful to waste. And if you're not sure what you should be even doing in that window or where to start in your arm recovery in general, that answer is going to look different depending on what stage of recovery you're in. I've built a free 2-minute quiz that identifies your exact stage and gives you one specific next step, not generic advice, your stage, your next step. The link is in the description. Mistake number 2 is managing spasticity during your exercise program, but then ignoring it the rest of your day. Spasticity isn't something that only exists during your exercise sessions. It's a constant signal from the brain running in the background all day long. And if you're only addressing it during your exercise program and then going about your day without any awareness to that arm or the positioning it is in, you're giving your brain about 1 hour of the right input and about 16 hours of the wrong one. That math is just not going to work in your favor. So the way you position your arm the rest of the day, how you sit, when you're watching TV, eating or sleeping, all of that is input. And if that input is consistently putting the arm in a tight and guarded and internally rotated position, your brain is getting rewired to keep that signal on, not off. So spasticity management isn't just a 1-hour job. It's a 24-hour one. And the stroke survivors who make the most progress are the ones who are conscious of that arm throughout the entire day. Not just when they're exercising, but they're looking for ways to position it in a open position, neutral position, as much as possible. And that's how you start giving the brain a big enough reason to let go. Mistake number 3 is forcing your arm through movements when it's resisting you. And this one makes complete sense. You've been told to use that arm. Movement is recovery after all. So when the arm fights back, the instinct is to push harder, muscle through it, force the range, and just make it cooperate. The problem is that spasticity doesn't respond the same way to force that a stiff joint does. So when you're forcing a spastic limb, you're triggering a stretch reflex. This is your nervous system detecting a threat and firing back to resist it. So you're not overcoming the spasticity, you're actually feeding it. So think of it like an arm wrestle with your own nervous system. The harder you pull, the harder it pulls back. You cannot win that fight by adding more force. What actually works is the opposite. Slow, calm movements that don't trigger that reflex. Your nervous system needs to learn that movement is safe. And it only learns that when the input isn't threatening. So forcing the arm is teaching it the wrong lesson every single time. So if you've been white knuckling through your way on a lot of these exercises and wondering why the arm keeps fighting back, now you know why. Mistake number 4 is a poor fitting orthotic or forcing your hand in one. This one surprises a lot of people because a orthotic has to come from a clinician. It feels like the responsible thing to do. You're supposed to be wearing it after all. But here's what I see consistently in my own experience with working with stroke survivors, is that these orthotics are too tight. And what a too tight orthotic does is trigger a low-grade stretch reflex all day long. So your nervous system is constantly being stimulated into guarding and resisting for hours at a time, which is obviously the opposite of what we're trying to achieve. And with orthotics, it's not just about the fit, it's also about how you put it on. If you or a caregiver are just forcing that hand open, shoving it into the orthotic, you're also triggering that stretch reflex, which is the very reflex we're trying to calm. As a side note, if your orthotic causes pain, leaves marks, or requires a lot of force to get on, that's information that it needs to be reassessed, because the goal of these orthotics should be to position the hand in a way that the nervous system accepts, not fights. If it fits right, it should go on with minimal resistance. Mistake number 5 is relying on stretching alone to fix your spasticity. And here's why this one mistake is probably the trickiest one on the list, because stretching actually does something. You can stretch your hand open and it loosens up. It moves a little easier. And that feels like progress. And it is progress. It's just not the progress you think it is. What you're feeling is an improvement in your muscle stiffness, not the spasticity. Stiffness and spasticity almost always exist together after stroke, which is exactly why this mistake is so easy to make. They feel like the same thing, but they're completely different problems with completely different solutions. Spasticity is a nervous system problem, and stretching doesn't touch the nervous system. So if you're stretching is your entire plan for treating your spasticity, then that's the answer to why you feel like you're working so hard every day and going nowhere. Keep it in your routine. It has its own place and role, but it cannot be your only tool to manage your spasticity. I'm going to leave you with one bonus mistake, and it's that the mindset of nothing is ever going to change my spasticity. And I want to be careful when I say this. That conclusion is almost never true, but I want to be honest with you, because sometimes the approaches that most stroke survivors are given aren't targeting the source of spasticity. They're just managing the symptoms. So of course nothing is working. It may not be your effort, it just may be you need a different strategy. And for some stroke survivors, particularly those with high tone, complex spasticity that just haven't responded to conventional treatments, there are medical treatments worth knowing about. Things like phenol nerve blocks or cryoneurolysis are very promising options for managing any spasticity, but specifically those high complex cases. So if any of these sound familiar, this could be why you're stuck. And more importantly, now you know what to change. If you're tired of guessing on what to do next in your stroke recovery, then I built something specifically for people in your situation. It's called the Stroke Recovery Strategy Week. It's 1 week, you get one custom plan built around your goals. The link for that is in the description below. And if you want to understand more about why stretching isn't fixing your spasticity, watch this video next. And if you want to get moving and want a daily spasticity management routine for the whole upper arm, you can watch that one here.